Happy New Year!
Happy New Year. How long do you say that for?
That's a very good question. How long do you say it
Mm.
for?
Well, it's a
W-
question I'm intrigued to ask other people, to be
Didn't
honest.
we ask this question last year?
Well, yeah, but yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, and welcome to the Mr. and Mrs. in Business podcast.
that's the first time and we haven't done
No,
this
I
for
got it right
weeks.
last time.
And you got it right last time, and you got it
Mm,
right this time.
mm,
You are on a roll
I am. I'm a new woman this year.
this week.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, I read that
Mm.
obviously January is the most the highest time in terms of people will start New Year's resolutions.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the start of this week is when most of them will fail and give up,
Oh, crikey.
so they don't
Oh,
last long.
dear. Well, the best time to start new, routines and things is September.
No, the best time is now. If you're prepared to put it off till
Ooh.
September, there is no way that
True.
you're going to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Now is the time to do it.
Okay. Well,
I
there you
can't
go
stand people that's
now.
next week I'll go on that diet.
I know.
Says me.
Yeah. Yeah. We've said for a while, but yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. It's
So,
now.
so we're back,
We are
2025,
2025.
first show of the new year. And
Yes.
I wrote 2025 yesterday.
Oh.
Normally I don't know if you find this,
Mm.
at the start of the year, new year, when you
Yeah.
have to write the year down on a date, which we don't do very often. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody does very often, but
Yeah.
I always have to stop for a second. But
To
this
think about
week,
it.
I think I did it twice this
Came
week.
out
It's just been
naturally.
easy. It's almost like
Mm.
25 seems more natural than 24.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's a bizarre one, that isn't it? It can
Maybe
take
it's,
a long time to get it right.
maybe it's because 2025 is our
Ah,
year.
yeah.
That could be a little segment on the show. Ah, yeah.
Ooh.
Need a little tune. Diddly-doo. So we had a good
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah, more relaxing Christmas 'cause,
Mm.
getting over illnesses and things, but we always said that we just wanted to chill this Christmas, so it was just what we needed, so it was nice. Um, I would say we ate, drank, be merry, but we didn't drink very much 'cause
No, it
we
didn't feel
just
great,
didn't.
but we ate more than we
We
needed.
we made up for it with that, and it
Yes.
was it was nice and relaxing, and, yeah, saw in the new year on the it was nice.
And who else still has loads of chocolates and biscuits
Mm.
and stuff left over? Because we do.
Yeah, I know.
Every
It's
year,
all
I feel like I feel like we buy less every year, and yet we're still left over with loads at the end.
Mm. That's it. Yeah. I think everyone's a bit sick of chocolate, but luckily it's our son's birthday this month as well, so we can just use them for that.
Well, let's hope there's some left.
Win-win. Yeah.
So,
Mm.
first show, it's an exciting year this year because we're gonna be
Mm.
getting guests on.
Yes.
We've
Yeah, we've
got
talked
some
about it for a while, but we haven't actually followed it through
no,
properly, have we?
uh,
So,
we're having some conversations, so we've got
yeah.
hopefully a couple of guests lined up. We're just confirming
Yeah.
up some dates, so
Yeah.
that's really exciting. We're gonna get different
Mm.
people's points of view.
Yeah.
Some are going to be family-based businesses. Others might be friends. I
Yeah.
actually might just get other people that have run
Yeah,
business because
just
the
in
whole podcast is about the highs and lows of running a business. If
yeah.
you're a family member or a friend, that adds a
Yeah.
different perspective. But
Yeah.
ultimately, some of
Well, it
those
does,
things you're going to
yeah.
go through will be the same, right?
Yeah, for
Um,
sure, so it'll be really interesting.
so really exciting about that. Hopefully, we can get those
Mm.
dates firmed up in the next week or so, and then
Yeah,
and get
yeah.
those booked in and get those published. So
Mm.
really excited about that.
Yeah.
But today, and this is actually really quite fitting. No one's going to know this yet, but I'll explain in a minute. We're
Mm.
talking about brand consistency and just
Mm.
kind of branding in general,
Branding,
but
brand awareness
more
and
so on the
mm.
consistency part.
Mm.
And it's really fitting because I've just got off a phone call with
Mm.
a new client
Mm.
for Two Krakens who is looking for, they're going through, I can't say too much because it's all hush hush.
Mm.
So I'm not going to give it away. Dave. Oh, no. They're
Oh,
not called Dave, really. Don't
no.
worry. Imagine if I said the right name. Oh, no. Because this is live. I can't even edit it.
Mm.
So we've just done, or we're going through that exercise. I mean, they're changing names. Not sure if the direction of the business is going to change a little bit, but the name's definitely changing. So they really understand the
Mm.
value of good brand and branding in general, which
Mm.
I don't think a lot of people do. And
Mm.
that's obviously a lot more educating that we and other
Need to
people in
give.
our specialism need to do really
Mm.
more education on
Mm.
why it's so powerful and important.
Mm.
Um, but it was just a really nice conversation around this is what we're doing, this is what we're thinking, and having that
Yeah.
input from the clients as well. It's always like
Mm.
a two-way
Mm.
thing. So that's really exciting. And so it's really nice now to talk about this because I just had a conversation about it.
Mm. Mm.
So why
Yeah.
do you think brand consistency is so important?
Well, I've seen it myself, going out, networking, meeting clients, after conversations online, it all needs to tie together,
Mhm.
you know, um, and I genuinely saw a client today as well and was discussing their logo. And they said, "Oh, I think I want two logos. So I'll have this on this and this on the other." And I said, "But if you're sending all your emails with this logo and then you're turning up to the job with a different logo, then you're invoicing with this logo. That sends a bit of a complicated story." So he's agreed to do it with the same logo and then establish the other business and do that separately. Um, because the brand consistency following that story, you're developing those relationships, that brand awareness, and seeing it consistently, it just builds it more
Yeah.
for their understanding. Um, so, you know, when I've gone to different events, they've seen my workwear and said, "Ah, you're Helen from Threadapixel. I've seen that logo. I've seen a photo of you, or I've seen you on the socials." So many people have said that, and
And
it just shows the power of that consistency.
absolutely, and this is another conversation we just had actually around: do we go with for this client's
Mm,
brand?
mm,
Do we go with like an icon based logo like we have done with Threadapixel and Two Krakens? We've got the octopus theme,
yeah,
which runs through all our businesses now, different various businesses.
yeah,
Um, or do we just go with a strong type? Uh,
yeah,
and actually, depending on which one you go down, they kind of
yeah.
need more or different types of marketing of that. So,
Mm,
an
mm,
icon based, like we use the octopus, for example, out of Threadapixel,
yeah.
that's really strong, really powerful.
Mm,
We chose the right colors and the
mm,
stance of the octopus actually, and its smiling face
mm.
representing us as a
And the
brand, which is,
colour.
yep, the
Mm,
colors and all those, and the emotions tied with that, and all that stuff.
mm.
But it takes a lot more effort to get that out there. But once it
Yeah.
is out there, it becomes
Mm,
more recognizable than
yeah.
a type. And that's
Yeah.
because then you become there's an association. So
Yeah.
I'll see people and they'll say, "Oh, you're the octopus." They won't even say Threadapixel. You work where octopus.
Yeah.
So that there becomes that
Mm,
sort of connotation in between
mm,
workwear, octopus,
mm,
thread a pixel.
mm,
So it really helps, but it requires a different piece of marketing. For me,
mm, mm,
brand consistency is
mm,
paramount.
mm,
If we live in a world now where we are thrown information left, right, and center, you can't get
mm,
away
mm,
from information being thrown. I mean, the
yeah.
internet, just the internet alone, with search engines, social media, then you've got TV, you've got radio, you've got
Mm,
podcasts, you've got
mm.
your YouTubes, you've got newspapers, you've got magazines, you've got events,
Billboards. Mm,
billboards. I mean, leaflets. I mean,
yeah. Mm,
everywhere you look, you are. I
mm,
don't think you can go anywhere now and not be presented with information in some way,
mm,
shape, or form. And the other thing you have to remember is this is not like the old days where in the
mm.
village there was only one builder or a couple of builders. In
Yeah.
your, if I'm sure if you put into Google now, whatever it is you offer as a service,
Yeah.
there'll be hundreds of
Mm,
companies, if not thousands, offering
mm,
the same service at least. I know
yeah.
they slightly differ, but a
Mm,
builder offering building services
yeah.
in like a 20-mile radius, for example.
Mm,
And so that's why it's so important
mm,
that not only you have a strong brand, that once you've got
mm,
that strong brand, that you
mm.
use the same set of
Oh,
guidelines
yeah.
in every opportunity you can.
Mm,
And that
mm,
just doesn't mean, and we'll talk about this a bit more in a few minutes, but that's not just about the logo, it's the colors, the type, all those things, placement, they're all
mm,
really important. And the only way you can start standing out is by using the same branding in the
mm,
same way over and over and over again. If we'd
mm,
have changed the color of our octopus, we
mm,
wouldn't have been known as the yellow
mm,
octopus.
mm,
And yet now we are. I mean, you'll have people come up
mm,
to you, don't you, saying, "Oh,
mm.
you're the octopus," or they'll see the car, that's Thread a Pixel.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so for
yeah.
me, it's paramount. You have to be able to stand out.
Mm,
And one of the easiest ways you can do that, and that's the thing, this is what I
mm,
don't understand why people don't do it. It's free,
yeah.
isn't it? It's
Mm,
just actually because I'm going to say it, you can't be bothered to spend those extra few minutes
mm,
getting it right
mm.
because you don't understand. And that's not your, I don't know, is your fault? It's not your fault. I don't know. I
Well, some people don't see the value, do they,
think
basically?
lots of people don't see the
And
value.
so they don't invest in getting a logo done properly. Um, but, in the past, we've worked with some customers that haven't invested in their logo. And we've said, well, hold on, this isn't going to work because of X, Y, Z. And they just don't understand why. And
Mhm,
then there is additional work that needs to be done for that consistency. Yeah, we could just whack their logo on, but it's going to look rubbish. It doesn't sit consistently with their website or with their vans or whatever. And that just naturally comes to us that that is really important, but
mhm.
they can't see that value. until they've gone through with it and you've done it properly for them, and then they can.
Yeah, but I think that the frustrating part to that is that's because you get people come along, and this is the same in every sector,
Mm,
that says, you don't need to worry about your logo. It's
mm,
irrelevant. I can do it for
mm.
20 quid for you or a
Yeah, I know,
fiver or
it's so
whatever it is
frustrating,
nowadays.
and then they get the work and they wonder why it's all blurred and you
Oh, or
can't work
blurred
with
or it
it.
can't be printed or that
Mm.
then it doesn't work in a, like you say, a certain format. So,
Or my old thing that really, really upsets me, people have got the exact same swirl on their logo. So they've got the same font and the same swirl, but it
yeah.
might be a different colour. And I have actually had the same trades guys, 2 or 3 different people, 3 different completely different businesses with the same swivel logo, like swirl logo.
Mm.
You just know they've gone online. There's
One of these
nothing
free
unique
things.
about it
Yeah.
whatsoever. It's so that really upsets me, and you just know they haven't invested in their
Well, see,
branding.
to me, I wouldn't choose a company's service based on that. So what
Mm,
I mean by that is, if I'd seen that before, or it looked like what I consider to be a cheap logo,
mm,
I would not buy their services or their product because
mm,
if they can't be bothered with that,
mm,
what else can't they be bothered with? If they're
mm,
trying to cut corners there, what
mhm,
else? And
mhm,
this is the power of branding.
mm,
And we sort of talk about it, but this is not just about your logo when we talk about branding.
mm.
What's the story behind it? We have a story behind Threadapixel. We
Yeah.
have a story behind Two Krakens. Every
Mm,
business we've ever had, we had a story behind hashtag name.
mm,
Everything
mm,
had a story
mm,
that represent. Now, it might not be obvious to people, but it's a great conversation piece. So there's a story.
mhm,
There's your logo.
mhm.
Then colors.
Yeah.
Colors are so important. Different colors
Mm,
have different emotions and psychology linked to them. It makes us feel
mm,
differently in different ways. Um, Type.
mm,
Just because I've got my logo,
mm,
what type am I using on my website and my
mm,
letterheads, in my
mm,
brochures? That should be consistent.
mm,
What are my color palettes to use? What colors
mm,
should I use? What colors shouldn't I use?
mm,
Where should I place my logo?
mm.
You know,
You need a long version, an icon
right?
perhaps, a tall version, a black background version, a white background version.
Right. So there's so much more. And this is
Yeah.
where, when we explain it to people that your £20 logo online, great, that's going to see you through for that little piece of business you've got there,
Mm,
but it's not going to grow with you.
mm,
I mean, one of the things we tell everybody to do, and even if you only do it in a Word document yourself, it doesn't matter, but
mm,
get yourself a set of brand guidelines.
mm,
For those of you who don't know what that is basically a
mm,
document that just says how a logo and how your brand should be used and how it
mm,
shouldn't be used.
mm.
And keep it short and sweet if you have to. Just put your logo in there. These are the only logos I'm allowed to
Yeah.
use. This is the type that we use, and these are the colors that we're allowed to use. Anything
Mm.
outside of that is a no go.
Uh-uh.
Yeah,
Mm.
the X Factor buzzer. But at least then when you
Yeah.
employ someone like us to do workwear or
Yeah,
Two Krakens, you want us to do a video or you get some
on the
print done
website.
or your website or you get your van wrap, whatever it is,
Mm.
you send that to the company doing it and then they
Yeah,
know
and they
what
know
to
what they're doing.
follow.
Yeah.
This is
Mm.
not rocket science. And this is the thing that really
Yeah.
frustrates me about when I see companies not
Investing in their
investing, not even
branding.
investing in it, but taking it seriously,
Yeah,
investing their
yeah.
time because
Mm.
it doesn't cost a lot of money. Once you've got it done right the first time,
Yeah.
even if you don't want to pay somebody else with the brand guidelines, because it can be costly. There's a lot of effort that goes into creating these documents.
Mm.
And I understand that for everybody, it's not the right time yet for them to invest
Mm.
that money.
Mm.
It takes you a couple of hours to create a Word document that says
Mm.
da 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 da,
Mm.
which you can send out. Okay, it's not all
Mm.
fancy and all the rest of it,
Mm.
but it serves a purpose until you can afford
Mm.
to, or you want to invest money
Yeah.
into creating a more formalized, bigger document.
Mm. Mm.
Why don't people do it? I just want to slap them with a
I
wet kipper.
know. It's frustrating, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. It's just understanding. Yeah. I think when they do invest in it though, that it just makes life so much easier for getting all those other branded parts done,
Yeah.
like you
I
said.
mean, we're only in a position we're in now, I believe, because of our
Mm.
brand consistency. We
Mm.
get recognized, or the
Mm.
octopus, should I say, gets
Mm.
recognized in
Mm.
so many different places.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's purely because we've been consistent with it. That logo hasn't changed in the
Mm.
7 years we've been operating.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
6, 7 years. Nothing's changed
Mm.
about it. We put the
Mm.
time at the beginning.
Mm.
We
We did
got it
spend a
right.
long time. Yeah.
It did, but it was worth
Mm.
it now. And we
Mm.
got the colors right, and we got the layouts and
Mm.
the type, everything.
Are we going to tell the story of the Thread a Pixel logo?
You tell it.
branding. So we chose the little yellow octopus because yellow is friendly, it's approachable, it's fun and bright. So we wanted, and that's what we are as a brand. So
Mhm.
that's what we wanted to give off. The octopus is friendly, but he's not cringy. He's not too baby looking, but he's not too scary looking either. And then thread a pixel. Thread because obviously we use the threads within the embroidery, and then pixel because we also do the printing in house. So yeah, we felt that that sort of suited it perfectly. Um, and our logo will always be like the text is always white or dark grey. So and then if the octopus is on a different coloured background, then the octopus um, is white. So you said we never changed the colour of the octopus. So that is the only time.
But we rarely
But
use.
we do try not to
So you
use.
have what's called a primary and a secondary. So the primary is one you use wherever you possibly can, and then when you can't,
Mm,
then you use a secondary because you have to have a light version and a
yeah,
dark version for depending on
yeah.
the background it sits on.
Mm,
So yellow can be a great color, but it can also conflict with a lot of other colors. So you have to be
mm,
really careful what the background is for it,
mm,
which is why we created the white version as well. But
yeah. We do try not to
I
use the
can
little
probably
white
count
boy.
on my hands the
Yeah.
amount of times
That's
the
only
white
on a
one
yellow
gets
garment,
used.
isn't it?
Right. So
We don't tend to wear yellow jumpers too often, but I have got a couple.
why did we pick an octopus?
And we chose our octopus because we can put our hands to anything branded. And yeah, and we work as a team to create all of our work. So
So there was a lot of thought that went into
yeah.
it, a lot of
Mm,
thought, and then even the
mm,
typeface. The
mm.
type that was used
Yeah.
was
Was
soft. It
smooth.
was
Yeah.
rounded again
Yeah.
because it gives that fun, friendlier thing. If we'd have gone with
Mm.
a strong,
Jagged one, then
jagged,
it's
or with
yeah.
strong corners and points, that would have been
Mm.
maybe more for
Didn't
something that was more. I don't know, but
it
it
didn't
didn't
suit the
represent the
smooth,
brand.
like, s finishes that we were giving
No,
with the
and
octopus
this is why it's
rounded.
so important to get it all
Mm.
right, and this is
Yeah.
why it takes so long, and this is why
Mm.
companies
Mm.
don't do it for 50 quid. I
Mm.
mean, we with
Mm.
this rebrand we're doing for this company at the moment.
Mm.
Um, we've been working on it for about a week,
Mm.
with other projects as well, but we've been looking after
Mm.
this project now for about a week, maybe 2 weeks.
Mm.
Um, and we haven't come to a conclusion yet where the client wants to be. We know that what they're
Mm.
like now. They've
Yeah.
chosen the name because we were discussing the name together.
Mm.
They've picked the name. They're just
No,
sorting out
but
a little
there's a
bit on the
great
end.
story behind the name and the reason
There's the
why as
story,
well.
so the brick is presented. So this is why it costs what it
Mm.
costs because there is a
Mm.
lot of thought and effort that
Yeah.
has to go into it.
Mm.
Um, and for me, it's really obvious when you see a logo or a brand,
Mm.
the companies that have invested
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
time and energy into it versus the
Mm.
ones that
Well,
haven't.
we do see it all day, every day. You're getting your logos in from the customers and putting it on the clothing. We can give our opinion on certain things, but you can tell those that are not ready to. I mean, sometimes you do come to a time where you do need a rebrand.
Mhm.
You might have been going for a huge manufacturer for 25 years. Maybe it is time for a rebrand. Um, so yeah, it's really time to consider how to rebrand that. But
And that's even more important then because actually you've got a bigger task ahead of you
mm,
because somebody has been used to seeing your brand
yeah, oh
in a
yeah,
certain
no, it's
way for
huge
so many years.
as to how
And
to
so
change
that
it.
is even more critical that you
Yeah.
make sure that when you get that right,
Mm,
that you invest the time and the
mm,
energy in it, and that then you have a
mm,
strong and robust marketing plan to get that new
mm,
message out there that,
yeah.
hey, still the same company, but
Mm,
we're modernizing. This is why, and da da da, and this is the new brand
yeah.
that sits with that.
Yeah.
So again, a rebrand is really a much bigger job.
Yeah.
And again, that's why it's even more important. If you can get it right the first time,
Mm,
you will
yeah.
have to do this less as time goes on. And hopefully,
Mm,
then,
mm,
if it has been done right the first time, the next time you come to do a rebrand, which hopefully
mm,
wouldn't be for sort of 20 years or something,
mm.
it would be a tweak. So it's a
Yeah.
slight variation on what it's just
Yeah.
to bring it
Of
maybe
that.
more in line with
Mm,
current trend or
mm,
modernize it in some way,
mm.
but it's still obvious. Ah, that's the same
Yeah.
company. Um,
Yeah. We've also had a few people that have been called, I don't want to use their actual name, but for example, uh,
Southeast Oil.
Southeast Oil, but now they all no Southeast Oil, but they also do more than oil now.
Hmm.
So they don't want to just be called Southeast Oil.
Right.
So they sort of need to tweak the name, and so yeah, that's another thing. Like you don't want to just be called Southeast Windows if you also offer doors and
Mhm.
conservatories and things. So it's just about being clever
Yeah,
about the name as well, isn't it? That you don't encompass just one thing if you offer more as well.
absolutely.
So that's another thing to think about as well.
So I think the key takeaway from if anyone
Mm.
is listening and watching, which hopefully, as we always say, is more than mom and dad, uh, that is invest the time
Mm.
and the
From a
effort
professional.
from
The amount of
someone
times
knows
that
what
we're
they're
like,
doing.
"Oh, yeah, my cousin's doing that," or
Oh,
even like, "Oh, my son's just in college, he's doing that." And then you see it and you just wanna scream, quite frankly. And, you know, you know if they're not gonna change it or do
mm.
it properly, so you have to go along with it and you think, "Wow."
But
Mm.
if you're listening to this and you've already got your brand, get yourself now a set of brand guidelines, lock it
Mm.
down, do it
Yeah.
yourself. If you don't want to invest the money, like I said, create a Word
Mhm.
document, just put in
Mhm.
there, these are the only types of logos you can use and
Mhm.
have no more than a light version, a dark version.
Mm.
And if your logo is lengthy, then have like a square one. But try if you can,
Mm.
try and keep it to one if you possibly can. But
Yeah.
I know that's not always possible, depending on what
Mm.
you've already had done.
Mm.
So light version, dark version. So one's a primary, one's a secondary.
Yeah.
And you always try and use the primary more than the secondary, as the title suggests.
Yeah.
Put the colors in there that you're going to use. Try
Mm.
to keep that to two if you possibly can. So you've got a
Mm.
nice contrast. Make sure they do
Yeah.
contrast to each other so that when they're used, they bounce
Mhm.
off each other.
Mm.
Um, the font, the
Yeah.
typeface you're going to use in your
Mm.
documents, make sure you log that down.
Mm.
And just how and where the logo should be used. So if there's a
Mhm.
certain amount of spacing, if you've got
Yeah.
back to the building example, if you're a building, you take lots of
Mm.
photos of your work and you always have
Mm.
your logo on it. Try and put the logo
Mm.
always in the same place so that people start to resonate,
Mm.
that it starts to register
Yeah.
where that is. Um, and just pull
Mm.
that together in a Word document. And then anybody
Mm.
you employ or you use anybody's services that
Mm.
requires
Mm.
usage of your brand, you
You've
send
got
them
those
that and you say
guidelines.
you follow those guidelines.
Mhm.
And please, I cannot stress the how
Mm.
important it is to do that.
Yeah.
It will make everything so much easier. And it's that
Mm.
is it the Raz effect where if you see something lots of times,
Oh,
then
yeah.
it starts to
Yeah.
register with yourself?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's a no-brainer.
Mm. No, it's really important, so, yeah, and if you just don't if that sounds like too much, then, yeah, speak to you, Krakens,
Oh,
and
yeah, you could do.
yeah,
Oh, shameless
and
plug, Helen, shameless
you can
plug.
actually do the work for you.
Shame, I like it. Yeah.
Can't help myself.
I just put a little thing, a scrolling thing on the bottom of the screen. Cool. Oh, now there's
Yeah.
of three low payments of
Yeah.
99.99.
Yeah. Today only. Yeah.
So yeah, we only wanted a brief sort of
Mm.
conversation today when we
Just the
just
importance of it, yeah.
ease
Mm.
us back into it. This is the first
Mm.
one this year.
Mm.
We didn't want to
Mm.
go too full. Hang
Mm.
on it. Plus, I think this
Mm.
is our first week back at work,
Mm.
so it's pretty. It's been a bit weird
Yeah, we're all just getting into the mix of it, aren't we?
back in
We're
the
not having
swing of
chocolate for
things.
breakfast anymore, so,
Well, you're not. I haven't told you something. Well, we're trying to drink more at the moment,
no.
aren't we?
Yeah, but water.
Well, yeah,
Not alcohol.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've got champagne for breakfast.
Yeah. Oh, yes, please. No, yeah, so we're drinking more water. Yeah, so that's good. It helps with your concentration and all sorts, doesn't it? It's got a lot to
I don't
say
know.
for itself, keeping yourself hydrated
I'm
with
just,
water,
I'm just trying
not
to
alcohol.
flush my body out with all the cack that's gone in it over Christmas in terms of all the
Mm,
rubbish food and stuff. I mean, I'm
mm.
just sick and tired of chocolate. I'm sick and tired of crackers and cheese.
Yeah,
And I love cheese, but I'm
yeah,
sick and tired of it.
yeah.
So, and it was actually nice coming back to
I
work. It
know,
was,
yeah, we
it was,
both really were happy to come back to work.
yeah, you
I
sound
mean, we'd say
surprised.
escape each other, but we can't even escape each other at work.
God, no.
But no, we really liked. We both were like happy to get back in the routine, weren't we? So, and a lot of people have said that actually.
Yeah, I think a lot of people said that this Christmas is
Mm,
almost like a bit of a non-event, as in,
mm,
I always think the same every year. Really. I love Christmas, I really do, but there's
yeah.
always this, oh my God, it's Christmas and the excitement, and then
Mm.
Christmas Day comes, and then it's like,
Oh,
now what?
yeah,
And I
yeah.
always find that, and I always
Mm,
say I'm going to do something different, or we're gonna
yeah,
do activities between Christmas and New Year. We never do.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, it was quite nice to come back to work and
yeah.
start and get on with all the exciting plans we've got. I'm really excited to get
Mm,
these guests on.
yeah,
Got some
yeah,
really interesting topics to talk about.
yeah.
Uh,
No, it's really nice to have other points of view as to how they deal with things and different ways of working. I think it's so useful to speak to other people in business.
I think that's something I've learned is you have to be
Mm,
open to talking to people. And I've always been
mm.
quite a closed book in that respect. I'll
Yeah,
happily listen to other people and I'm always happy to give
yeah.
advice. But I think when people have asked me, I've been a bit more like, I suppose,
Mm.
guarded
Yeah,
and
yeah,
closed. I'm not really
yeah.
a kind of person that talks much about feelings and things like that. So,
Mm,
but
mm.
that's something I worked on last year and continuing to do now.
Yeah, and I think it's
Uh,
what's really helped build relationships, isn't it? Like, and also like your brand as well.
mhm.
Like being personable, being open-minded, letting people see what behind the scenes of your business as well. It's what aligns you with your customers and
Yeah.
relationships. Like that's the only way that they can get to know you if you show the true self.
Well,
Um,
this is where brand is a huge. It's a huge thing, isn't it? I mean, it's down to you could
like,
even say it's down to the way I answer the phone or how I greet
mm,
a
mm,
customer. You
mm,
know,
mm,
it's really it's massive, and it's
yeah.
but another tip I can give you is as you grow as a business, you obviously when you start yourself, 9 times out of 10, it's just you, and you know how you want things done,
Mm,
which is great. But then the minute you bring somebody in, you have to pass that on to them.
mm,
Create yourself a series of SOPs, standing operating procedures. It doesn't have to be lengthy. It doesn't have to be or formulated in some kind of fancy spreadsheet. Even again,
mm,
if it's just a Word document that says, this is
mm,
what you do, this is how you do it, and this is what you do if it goes wrong or this happens and that
mm.
happens. Because at least then you can try and make sure that the way you do things then
Mm,
is passed on to everyone else in the team.
yeah, we did that a
Um,
couple of years ago, didn't we? And that works really well now, just
we
passing that down.
did it a while ago, but then we
Oh,
revisited it
yeah.
again a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and we made them more fancy and looking.
Well,
But
yeah, well, I had it on the wall and had it as a really big thing that this is really is what we
yeah,
follow, and, like, you can really see the difference when you really instill it and then allow the team to make tweaks as to what they feel it needs, if
exactly.
any.
But I mean,
Uh,
that's probably a different podcast, isn't it? But it's just
mm,
about the branding is more than just a logo. It's so much
yeah.
more. It's the whole piece
Yeah.
of
Mm,
your tone, your messaging, your communication, your story. I mean, one of the best ways now to deliver content is via storytelling. It's
mm,
something that you can resonate with,
mm,
that you can follow, that you might have even been down yourself.
mm,
It's almost like I let's say like a mini
mm,
film,
mm,
or a mini book. You're telling
mm,
a story, and
mm,
people love to be part of that journey or see you on that journey. So,
mm.
um,
And you can help tell them with Kraken's media.
oh, again, she's doing it again. She's doing it again. And if you need any workwear, people go, oh, I'm not listening to these guys again. They just plug their own services. There are other people out there who do branding, other people that do workwear. Not
Mm,
that you'd want to use them,
not as
but
good as us. They don't have a cute octopus.
no, they don't have a cute octopus or a kraken. Hmm,
Oh, with a story behind it.
yeah. Um, So yeah, well, we better think about
Yeah.
wrapping up because we're going to go and pick up the little one. Or
Yeah.
actually, I don't have to go and pick up the little one.
Yeah.
You have to go and pick up the little one.
Yeah. But no, hopefully that was helpful because, on a daily basis, we have to work with like a mixture of logos. And when someone's really consistent with it, it's great and it makes our lives so much easier.
I
And
love
we
it.
like it when they're fussy about
Yeah,
how it has to be. The measurements were like, brilliant,
yeah, exactly.
brilliant.
Because actually, it makes our job so much easier.
Mm,
I mean, we had sorry,
yeah.
I'm starting off again, but we had
Mm,
a customer a few weeks ago.
yeah.
I can't remember the one. I'm not going to say the one
No,
anyway, but
you can't say.
uh, they sent us a brand guideline
Yeah.
and they mocked it all up and they said, "This is what I want. This is how it needs to be." That to
Yeah.
most companies, that would be like,
Yeah.
"Oh God, look at this guy."
Yeah.
To me, that was a new.
No.
Oh my, brilliant!
Yeah.
Because it makes our job idiot proof. I
Yeah.
know, right? That's what you want. That's how it's
Yeah.
got to look. That's the
The
color.
gap
That's the
between
position.
this and
Yeah,
that,
it's done. Just you
great.
don't have to worry about
Brilliant.
it.
Your
It's
team are gonna look
the
brilliant.
bee's
I was
knees.
gonna say the bee's knees,
Oh,
but I
something
felt a
my
bit like
granddad
a
say.
mom.
Yeah, all right. You see, we can look the dog's bollocks.
Hey.
um, but no, it's and I love that, and you love it. It just makes
Mm,
it's almost like an
yeah.
instruction, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who the
It's
hell
idiot proof,
gets
like you say.
an IKEA set? And I'm sure most men do this. They get an IKEA bundle
Yeah.
and they empty it all out, and they're like, I don't need the instructions.
Yeah.
5 minutes in, fucking hell, better get them instructions out. But then how much easier is it with the set of instructions? That's
Yeah.
what the brand guideline is a
Mm.
set of instructions.
Yeah, no, it
Would you
is,
put
yeah.
your IKEA furniture together without a set of
Mm.
instructions? No, you bloody wouldn't. You'd call IKEA and say, where the hell are my instructions?
Or you'd try for an hour if your name's Chris and then be like, "Oh,
I'm
damn it."
sure most men do
Yeah.
that. But
And women.
and women. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, men and women.
Yeah.
I mean, I think women are a bit more clever like that. Men are like, I don't need
Yeah,
instructions.
yeah,
Women
yeah.
like, I need the instructions because I'm bright and I'm going to save myself some
Yeah,
time. Men,
exactly.
we're
Yes, we
thick.
are. Yes, we're better than
I know, I'm
you.
saying it. I'm saying it. So, yeah.
Yeah, so please
Takeaway.
take that on board, and if you need any help, then we're always here to help.
She's done it again.
No,
Three
that was a
plugs.
genuine, "I'm
Three
here,
plugs in a
we're here
30-minute
to
podcast.
help."
Oh my God. We should have a little tally on the screen. Plug 1, plug 2, plug
No, that
3.
was a genuine if you just need help with it,
No,
so,
I mean, if you
yeah.
just want some advice or something, we're more than happy to help wherever
Yeah,
we possibly can. I'm
yeah,
not going to sit here working for free, mind. But
yeah.
if I can help somebody out and
Mhm.
it's a small thing, just
Yeah,
pop us a message over. If
yeah,
we can help, we will.
yeah. Mm.
So, with that being said,
Mm.
oh, we didn't do the normal sign on. Good
Mm.
morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh, God, I am out of practice.
Well, my mum said we waffle, so I was trying not to do that one.
Your mom said we waffle. I've got to be careful what I say now because she's going to watch, aren't I? Thank you for the feedback. It's very helpful. Do we waffle?
We could do that as a sign off.
Now you've just ruined my day now. Well, she doesn't have to listen, you know. There's plenty of other podcasts she
She's
can listen
probably
to.
cut off. She hasn't got business,
Good.
so she won't be bothered to listen
Great.
or see the
Now we're
value.
down to one viewer.
Dad, I hope he's still in there.
um, so,
Uh,
good morning, good afternoon, good
and good
evening.
evening. Yeah.
Until next time,
Yep. Bye for now.
bye.